Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I got a video a little bit different for you. If you guys have watched my my EDC bag video when I'm up in the mountains, you guys have seen this bag before, but today it's going to be a little bit different. This bag is being used for a different purpose this week. Actually, unfortunately, it's not going to be used for this purpose this week. I went to a training course today that was supposed to be from Tuesday to Friday. And we showed up there Tuesday, got in a little extra early, went in there with a couple other guys there from this other company, and training course got canceled on us at the last minute and left a lot of people pretty pissed off, especially because at the class there was one guy there all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, who came down to California for this training course for the week. And I think he's the guy that pretty much got screwed over worse than all of us. But anyways, for the class, this is what I was going to be taking, and I put in a little bit of my school supplies kind of in here, as well as I was taking my iPad and my my clipboard with some other things. But in terms of, you know, my notes taking and, you know, jotting things down and working on some of the stuff we were going to be learning about, which it was going to be an electrical class, this was what I wanted to take. I could have took a regular little tool bag, but I just felt that this would be easier walking around the facility, just be able to sling my bag on and not have to worry about my tools falling around everywhere if I dropped it. You know, I do have the TP3 from Vito Pro Pack, which is still a great bag, a hell of a lot better than this, much better option than this. But, you know, just for the sake of not having to fumble with possibly having tools fall everywhere and saving myself a little bit of the embarrassment, this is what I wanted to do. Plus, it was just really nice kind of having it in a backpack, as well as putting my school supplies in it at the same time. But when we're rambling on, without further ado, let's get into the bag. So I'll go over the bag real quick. It's a Protector Plus tactical military style bag. As you guys can see, it's from Japan. You guys can get it on Amazon. This bag is really great for just basic EDC, and it's only $20, guys. You go on Amazon, look up Protector Plus, and this bag comes up. You get all different kinds of colors: multicam, tan, desert green, or not desert green, OD green, desert tan, and black. But right on the front, what I was gonna have in my pockets, I kept my pocket knife, which is also a little bit of a multi-tool. It's a Kershaw. And then on top of that, I also got some screwdrivers that are built right into it. And what's nice is it comes out and it actually becomes a screwdriver. So overall, this is just a great knife that I like to keep on me when I'm working, that I choose out of a lot of the multiple knives that I do have, which I am a big knife fan. Now, another thing I was going to be keeping in my pocket was my voltage detector from Klein. It's a really good voltage detector. This one actually has a flashlight on the front of it, and what's nice is that it gives you a good display of low to high. And I got to swap the batteries on this one because it keeps cutting out on me, but I was also going to have that in my pocket. Another thing I was going to be keeping in my pockets was my Streamlight Stylus Pro, just a nice good flashlight overall to keep. Another thing I was also going to be having was a small roll of black electrical tape, extra large zip tie that I just slid into the molly webbing of the front of the bag, a big Sharpie, in case we're going to be working on some electrical panels, and, you know, guys, sheet metal is pretty sharp, so I wanted to take a little set of gloves with me, just in case I was going to be working on anything with a sharp edge like sheet metal. Again, same kind of deal, just wedged into the molly webbing on the side of the bag. Some zip ties. And I have worked out of this bag today, and honestly, it was pretty nice working out of the bag. And then in the side where you normally put a water bottle pocket, I've got my standard set of Allens, and as well as my metric set of Allens. And it's nice that they're different colors, so I know exactly which ones I need. But this one goes all the way down from 1.5 to 8 millimeter, and for the standard set, it goes from 5/64 up to 1/4 inch. So that had me set for all of my Allens I was going to need, whether it be a panel or an electrical cabinet or some kind of electrical device like starters. A lot of times contact starters can have these Allens in them. Now, inside the main compartment of the bag. We'll go over the tools last. We'll get the school stuff out of the way. In here I have this indexing card, and guys, for those of you that work on electric motors, these things are amazing. My company gives them to me. I'm not too sure where you can get them, but you can probably find them online. But what's awesome about these cards is all this information that's on them. Basically, you determine what voltage you're working on, and then if you need any information on a motor, whether it be what's the minimum wire size that it requires, what's the FLA of the motor, it won't really tell you, it won't tell you service factor, but it'll give you the FLA on the motor. It'll tell you what's the proper size breaker you're gonna need to run that motor, as well as the fuse sizes that you're gonna need to run that motor. So this is really great, especially for those times where you run across motors that you just can't read the motor tag, but if you know it's a 50 horsepower motor and you know you got 460 volt, you can find all the information you need on the motor right there and then, which it's really great for that kind of stuff. Also took with me a small notepad. I had a bigger one, but this was one I just wanted to keep in my backpack for while we were in the shop. I had something that I can take my notes down on. And then, because we were also going to be doing some basic electrical, wanted to take a calculator with me so I could do some math if I needed to. And then a highlighter to highlight my most important notes, more like my keynotes I like to highlight, and 2 extra pens. Now, part that probably most of you are waiting for, what tools did I plan on taking? First and foremost, my meter. It's an electrical class. Gotta have your meter. With the motor card, obviously I gotta have a clamp meter. Clamp meters in my field are #1 over multimeters. Multimeters still have a very good place, and if you're doing a lot of computer work and some very large computers, a multimeter will probably serve you better than this. As for my leads, I'll go over my leads last because I have them in a separate compartment in the bag. Did not want to take a pair of side cutters. Instead, I took my Snap-on Crimpers, and what's nice about the front of them is it has a cutter in it. So I kind of took this for dual purpose. Wasn't really expecting to have to cut things that large. If I was going to, oh well, I'm pretty sure I would have made it by at the class. But you know, this is just what I wanted to take so I can crimp my connections as well as cut zip ties if I need to. But that wasn't my only cutting option. I also took a long pair of Needlenose from Channel Lock. These aren't the greatest, but they're actually pretty nice. They're decent. I do not like them over my Knipex pair of pliers, but these are still pretty decent. They do have a cutter in them, as well as a set of standard pliers so you can grab rounder objects like nuts and bolts, as well as the Needlenose. And then for my primary cutters for cutting wire, I took my Klein pliers, and these have another set of pliers right in the front, and then on top of that I can cut screws, but I never have ever used my pliers for cutting screws, mainly for the stripping wire and cutting it. If I was really going to be stripping, like say like a bigger piece of cord, I would have just put it right in here and then worked my way around it. Or a lot of times what I've done in a pinch, when I do not have many options available to me, I do use my knife for stripping off wire, larger wire at least. My screwdrivers, I took multiple pairs of precision tip screwdrivers, but I really like these from Milwaukee. I have multiple sets of these. But I took these longer ones because I have some Snap-on ones that I'll show you guys in just a second. But you'll notice the big difference between these and my Snap-on pair is that these are actually a lot longer, and they're #1 and 1 1/8 inch, which are the 2 most common size I use when it comes to my precision tip screwdrivers. Another screwdriver I took also was a Klein the longer version, 6-in-1. They do have a standard 6-in-1, which the head is much shorter, so the screwdriver isn't as deep. I prefer the long one for when I'm reaching inside of contactors. It definitely fits a lot better. And another nice thing that I took, I found at Home Depot the other day, and it was only a couple bucks. If you ever have times where you need to put a screw on the head of your driver and you need it to stay there, and your screwdriver is not magnetic, boom, it's a magnet that slips over your screwdriver, and it allows you to then pick up metal objects, which is really great. You know, it's not the strongest magnet in the world, but I mean, you guys can see it's still gonna do you justice. If it's a screw, it's definitely going to hold it on there for sure. And then in case if I dropped anything in any corners, any panels, stuff like that, I took a magnetic pickup tool, and this guy will pick up anything. I mean, this one is just a beast. It's from Blue Point, but I think it's like a 10-pound rating on it, and this one's really, really good. What I really like about these is, you know, just like the Craftsman at Sears, Blue Point off the Snap-on truck, it's still replaceable. Okay, moving on to the center compartment of my bag, and here I brought my adjustable wrench. This is my wide jaw, so you guys can see how wide that thing opens. You know, it's 2 finger widths apart. That thing opens up to 32 millimeters, or 1 1/4. So it's a pretty decent Allen wrench, or not Allen wrench, crescent wrench. My apologies. Another one that I do like to pair with it, and this is a Knipex tool made in Germany. Really awesome Alligator water pump pliers. And as you guys can see, these two definitely pair really nicely. They do match up in size pretty close in terms of jaw capacity. So they do pair pretty nicely. And then again, it was an electrical course, and what good is an electrician or anybody that works on electrical work without a decent set of precision tip screwdrivers? Now this isn't all the precision tip screwdrivers that come with the Snap-on set, and these ones I do not use too often, and honestly guys, these are quite a big disappointment in terms of the durability of the tips. Now it could just be me, but you know, in my experience, I don't know how much you guys in the auto mechanic world run into this, but I actually have the tips on these bend pretty easily. But a lot of times for me, I do run across electrical screws that, you know, just have experienced moisture and build up a little bit of rust and corrosion, and can be quite a pain to get off. And so, and thus, the screws around there are extremely tight and are difficult to get off bending the tips. And then the last pocket, not least, I took a Stubby Screwdriver. This is also a 6-in-1. What I mean by 6-in-1, guys, these screwdrivers are exactly the same. The only difference is that this one's long, but what both these screwdrivers do, they give you your 1/4-inch flathead and your #1 Phillips. And then on that same side with your 1/4-inch flathead and #1 Phillips, it gives you a 1/4-inch nut driver. And it's not the greatest nut driver in the world, guys. This is a tool that just gets you by, and honestly, even for a tool for me, I use the nut drivers on these things a lot, and for a tool that just gets you by, it really does the job very well. It's also got a #2 Phillips screwdriver, and as well as a, I think it's a 3/16 flathead, and on this side it's a 5/16 nut driver. But I mean, when you pair these two together, there's not very many screws that you can't really reach to or take apart, and I have used these screwdrivers day to day, and they're just amazing to use. I never get tired of them. I always love them. And then I took my Testleaves with me, obviously, for my meter. Now these are extra long. These are, I think, 3 feet long, and these are the aftermarket ones. So if you buy a fluke meter, most of your fluke meters aren't going to come with these Testleaves. These are the silicone leads, which I really, really like. Also took them, obviously, with some probes, but not just any ordinary probes. I took a few multiple probes. Took my test probes. These have the caps not go on top to protect them so you don't poke anything really. Also great for when you're actually testing a circuit. If you work on some equipment like I do, especially transformers, if you let something go across these two that aren't supposed to be touching, you can short something out and fry something. And believe me, I've learned the hard way, and I've kicked myself in the ass when I should have put one on these, and I just knew in the back of my mind, you know what, I probably should, and I just didn't in a rush. And you fucking fry something. You know, guys, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. And another thing I took are my alligator clamps. And these are pretty big. These I mainly use for larger disconnects. As you can see, they open up pretty wide, so they're good for putting on lugs or the where your fuses are at. You know, clip them on right there, and then I'll, you know, obviously hook up your test leads. But it's nice about having a test lead that's 3 feet long, and you have a disconnect. In the event of arc flash, you clip these on, and then you walk away and then turn on the unit, and you close your panel and just leave your wires hanging out. If there is an arc flash, you're not standing anywhere near the panel, which is where something like this is definitely in really big help. And then for those more tighter spaces, working in tight tight little confined areas on electrical panels, mainly for testing stuff. Again, the same thing, smaller alligator clamps. And these ones, what's nice is you can put them in there, open up, and then grab onto something, and then it retracts it in, so it really pulls nice and tight. And you know, guys, even these on my finger, you know, they're not really going to be shaken like that on a unit, and it's grabbing something that's bigger than it was meant to grab. Once it starts grabbing something small, like a piece of wire, there's no letting go. So that's really what those are good for. And then I also took a 1/4-inch drive bit with a 1/4-inch hex adapter. Don't really know why it's there. I think I just threw that in there because you can also use these on these guys for holding nuts and bolts onto your sockets. But I just threw that in there, so I don't really count that. It's just in the bag. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all that's in the bag. If you guys really like this video, if you want to see more videos like this, tabletop style things, let me know in the comments below, and I could definitely do more videos like this for you guys. Thanks for watching.